Oh, welcome to section 1.4, where we're going to do some multiplication of real numbers. And actually, multiplication turns out to be easier than addition. So you might enjoy this a lot more. Multiplication's got all sorts of rules to add positive and negative numbers. To multiply numbers that are positive and negative, just follow this chart. If you have two positive numbers that are being multiplied together, the answer obviously is positive. If one's positive, one's negative, the answer is negative. So if basically if you have two numbers and one's positive and one's negative, and it doesn't matter where the position of the negative number, you could have a negative number. Two negatives are positive. So when you have the same signs, you have to multiply out to be a positive. If you have different signs, they have to be negative. So that's the rule. Keep that in the back of your mind. It's simple as that. But what I just talked about has nothing to do with this first question. They say 1 times 9 equals 9. Well, this is an illustration of what's called the identity. Yeah, right here, multiplicative identity. It's like the addition. Remember we had the addition identity where, anything plus 0 is that thing. When you're dealing with 1, multiplying by 1 is a great thing because 1 times anything is that thing. It doesn't change the value. It's called an identity. So we'll leave that at that. And let's do it. Let me ask you this question. Is the answer going to be positive or negative? Well, I have a positive number and a negative number. Different signs mean you have to have a negative, and then what you do is you multiply the absolute values. 3 times 8 is 24. Check your answer. Nice. Okay, so here we have two negative numbers. Negative 1 times negative 6. Remember, when you have the same signs, you have to have a positive. Positive. 1 times 6 is 6. Now, you really don't need the plus. It'll take it. It'll take it, but that plus is not necessary. Okay, positive or negative? Negative, of course, because we have one negative number, one positive number, regardless of whether it's a fraction or whatever. Now, what is that negative number? Well, you have to take the absolute values. You take your 45, multiply by 1/5. And what does that mean? When you're multiplying by 1/5, you're multiplying the tops. Okay, so 45 times 1. If you don't see a bottom here for this number, it's implied 1. 5 times 1 is 5. And it's 45 over 5 ends up being the number 9. And that's the number I have to put over here, 9. Now, I could have got that a lot quicker. Just say 5 goes into itself once. 5 goes into 45 9 times. 9 times 1 is 9. Okay? So either way, it doesn't really matter how you get to, I got to check my answer. Okay. What do we do? I'll tell you the answer. You know the answer is going to be negative because one number is negative, the other number is positive. And I might as well do it over here. It's just easier to see here. You're multiplying fractions. The way you multiply fractions is you multiply the numerators. 20, 5 times 4. You multiply the denominators. 9 times 3. And then you look to see, hey, can I simplify that? Nah, can't simplify that because there's no number that goes into 20 and 27 evenly, so I'll have to just accept it. Great. You have to always simplify. Number 6. Now, double negatives, positive. I'm not going to write the positive. When you have decimals, it's okay to use a calculator. I have no problem with using a calculator, but I do know that the answer is going to be positive. And I'm going to put down 0.8 times 0.7, okay, 0.56. 0.56. Oops, okay, a little slow internet connection there. Now we've got 3 numbers to deal with. 3 numbers. Now you could take them 2 at a time, which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take these things 2 at a time, and then I'm going to show you a faster way to do this. Okay, so basically, I'm going to take the first two numbers, multiply them out. That'll be negative 20, right? Oh, I lost my focus here. Negative 20. And then bring down the minus 3, because all we did was we affected the first two. Then we have to move the minus 3. That's equal to 60, positive 60. That's the correct answer, positive 60. Check your answer. And I'm going to stay on that question because there's a quicker way of doing this. Let me do a similar question. Okay. First off, I'm multiplying all those numbers. So whether they're positive or negative, take the absolute values, multiply 3 times 3 is 9, and 9 times 4 is 36. Okay, that's the number, but is it positive or negative? So you count up all the numbers that have negative signs. 1, 2, 2. If you have an even number of negative signs, the answer will be positive. If you have an odd number of negative signs, the answer will be negative. Here I have an even number, so leave it at positive 36. Okay, it's as simple as that. I'm going to hit 0 and be happy. Okay, you know why? I can do this math. I could have a whole bunch of things multiplied out. Okay, you could have like 5 or 6 numbers all multiplied out, but when you hit the 0, 0 times anything is going to be 0. Okay, that's the beauty of 0. 0 destroys numbers, destroys terms. I saw the 0 there, and I saw everything being multiplied out, so I'm just going to hit 0. And, well, I don't want a similar question. That's the same thing. 0. Okay, what's the rule? I don't see any zeros. That's good. I see 1, 2, 3, 4 negative signs. So 4 negative signs is even positive. So forget positive. So what I'm going to do now is just multiply the numbers, the absolute values. 3 times 4 is 12. 12 times 1 is 12. 12 times 2 is 24. 24 times 6 is 144. Right there, positive. Check that answer. Very good. I'll leave you with that. I'll let you do that one. It's the same thing. I'll do this one. Okay, I will do this one. Double, I see 1, 2 negatives. That's it. 2 negatives is even. That means we have a positive answer. We took care of that. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply the numerators. 1 times 1 times 1 is 1. I'm going to multiply the denominators. 3 times 3 is 9 times 3 is 27. And that's it. That's it. So I'm going to check my answer. Great job. Only 4 more now. Okay, now we're starting to do some mathematics. I think you've seen this in your basic math course or somewhere in your mathematical experiences, that there's an order of operations that you need to remember. Okay, so let's do a new sheet of paper. Okay, and the order of operations is parentheses first. Whatever's inside the parentheses have to be done first. So that's number 1. Number 2, you do multiplications and divisions second. Left to right order. Left to right order. It's always left to right order. Okay, that's not even an issue. And then the last thing you do is additions and subtractions, left to right order. Now, what does it have to do with this problem? Don't start saying minus 9 plus 4. That'll be wrong. Okay, don't just blindly do that. That's not right, because you violated the order of operations. See, I have to scan the entire problem. I got to scan my entire problem. Here we go. I see a multiplication right there. Notice how I'm doing this. I'm even including the sign. It's always with the sign. So you've got to do this multiplication first. So what I'm going to do is copy all the stuff that's not involved in the operation. Minus 9. 4 times minus 3 is minus 12. I've taken care of the multiplication, and then bring down the minus 7. Now you do left to right order this. Subtraction. Minus 9 minus 12, okay, is going to be what? Plus a negative. Plus a negative. That'll be negative 21. minus 7 plus a negative minus 28. Should be minus 28 is the answer. Nice. 3 more problems and we're done. So how do you do this? How do you do this? First you write down on your paper. I look at the entire expression, and before you start, don't do this of minus 11 minus 2, because then you'd be bundling the subtraction. You'd be doing subtraction first, and you don't do subtraction first. You do subtraction last. What you got to do is identify that this is a multiplication over here. Do that multiplication. Keep the minus, bring down the minus 11. Minus 2 times minus 8, minus 4 is plus 8. Okay, we took care of the multiplication. And then minus 11 plus 8 would be your number 3. Number 3. You got to do your order of operations. Uh-oh, what did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? Minus 3. Minus 3. Good thing I have multiple answers here. Minus 3. See, minus 11 plus 8 is minus 3. Put a minus right there. Sorry about that. Check your answer. Good. Good, 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 good. Now 2 more. Okay, now let's do a fresh sheet of paper. Fresh sheet of paper. Don't save that. File, new. And we got this over here. We'll copy this. Minus 2. This dot is like grade school. Don't put the dot. That's grade school stuff. That's what they showed me back in when I remember grade school. Okay, just do this. That looks better. If you don't see an operation, it's implied multiply. Now to do this problem, I see a set of parentheses. That tells me I have to do the addition first. So do what's inside here. Negative 9 plus 10 is what? 1. The number 1. Okay, that's what's inside there. And now you have to multiply those two to give you negative 2. Negative 2 is your answer. Okay, so remember, you got to remember your order of operations. And last for this homework is number 15. Okay, good, good, good. Minus 8, minus 6. And see, they didn't put a dot here, so I don't know why they put a dot in the previous problem. 7 minus 9. Okay, I see parentheses. They've got to be done first. See, I'm scanning. First, you have to scan and see which things you have to do first. And I see a set of parentheses. Okay, so let's copy everything that's not involved in the operation I'm performing. See, 7 minus 9 is negative 2. Okay. Next thing, I scan again. I see a multiplication. Okay, let's do that multiplication. Notice I'm doing with the sign. So minus 6 times minus 2 is positive 12. Bring down the plus 8, the minus 8, plus 12. And that should be 4. The last thing you do is just add those two numbers to get the number 4. And there's the beauty of math right there. All done. Okay, so multiplication is in the bank. Next section, guess what, is division. And guess what? Just like subtraction is like addition, division is like multiplication. So that's going to go, so that chapter should go by real quick. All right, we'll see you in the next section. Take care.